I called it. This is why you got to tune in to Young River 59 streams, because I said that this was going to happen. I called it. I called it. I called it. I called it. I said that the way YouTube botched this and Carlos Maza and Vox tried to strong arm YouTube into changing a policy, which they were successful at doing, I said it was going to have these sorts of unintended consequences, and they were going to funnel support to Steven Crowder. And guess what? They are acknowledging that. These idiots. Rebecca Lewis, right? She writes for Vice, so take that in whatever way you may. That they're just as bad as Vox. Terrible. Writes this article. It's titled "YouTube's bungled PR announcements made Carlos Maza's harassment worse." She says when Gay Wonk raised the alarm about homophobic harassment on YouTube, the platform responded by inciting more harassment against him, though it's not exactly what happened. Additionally, Crowder's subscriber count started to surge not when Gay Wonk called him out, but on the day of YouTube's announcements. So the company specifically drove audience to harassing content. That's not what happened. First of all, that's not what's happened. That's a illogical, ignorant, really, let's be completely honest. It's a stupid assessment, because what she's trying to do is sort of avoid any sort of, responsibility for more so Gay Wonk. She's trying to put it on somebody else, which is YouTube, essentially. YouTube did what you guys wanted them to do. They started this purge. They started getting people off of the platform. That's what you guys wanted to essentially happen. Right? Getting demonetized and so forth. But as always, what you do when you do silly stuff like this and you put a bunch of content creators in your crosshairs, or more so you catch them in the crossfire by trying to aim at, let's say, Steven Crowder and YouTube, a bunch of other creators got caught up in this. And then what you're seeing is people going to people that didn't even like Steven Crowder, they take up for Steven Crowder. They become fans of Steven Crowder. It's the same thing happened with sort of PewDiePie. And that's what happens when you guys try to make enemies out of people that you shouldn't be making enemies out of, and unfortunately catching other people in the crossfire. That's what's going to happen. What's going to happen is you're going to funnel support to them. This has nothing to do with the company specifically drove audiences to harassing content. No. First of all, that is a subjective term, harassing content. It's content that you disagree with is essentially what that is. But that's not what happened. You drove audiences to that content. Carlos Maza did that because he made an enemy out of people that otherwise did not know that he existed. I talked about this. This is why you got to tune into the streams and the videos, bros. This is so predictable. I said this. I literally said this in my the Vox Adpocalypse live stream that I did. I said what's going to happen is that people are going to start supporting Steven Crowder out of spite. That's what happens. That's what happens. Certainly when you unfairly and unjustly, like it'd be one thing if he was like, all right, I don't like his content, and here's my reasoning, right? That's not what happened. Instead, it's this dramatization. This big dramatization. Oh, he's a homophobic. All this stuff, sort of nonsense. Instead of just accepting full responsibility. And again, this is something Carlos Maza, he throws his punches. You can't be going on the internet calling people out of their name, calling them white supremacists, calling them alt-right when that's not what they are. So people see that, onlookers see that, and that was the unintended sort of consequence. And that instead of thinking that, okay, well, people aren't going to support this guy anymore, people are itching to support him now. They're going to support him. They're like going out of their way to support him. Even people that weren't even fans of Steven Crowder, people that maybe despised Steven Crowder's content before, they just dislike you more because you're being an asshat. That's how it works. And they don't learn. You got people like Rebecca Lewis, who clearly doesn't get it, blaming YouTube when YouTube took your position. YouTube took Carlos Maza's position. Maybe they didn't crack down like you would have liked them to, but they still punished him. He got demonetized. And then a lot of other people that make content like him, and then people that didn't make content like him got caught in the crossfire. That's what happens. So you drove that because you made a big deal out of that because you wanted to dramatize this. Not necessarily Rebecca Lewis, but Carlos Maza. That's on him. He has nobody to blame other than himself. He doesn't try to dramatize this shit, playing this guilt trip, all this bullshit. If he doesn't do that, we're not even in this position. But here you are. You have nothing but yourselves to blame.